about some hot topics in photography every time we do this, and our host of each of these events is Nick Sharples from Seniors Ignite. And what we're going to do is each time we're going to have some different people on, just kind of discussing some of the topics that we see out there and giving you guys some of our opinions on them. So with that, I'm going to let Nick take over and see where we go with this.
All right, thanks, Jen. All right, so this week with us, we want to take a little bit just to share about who's here on our chat. So we have Sherry Phelps.
C. Phelps.
There she is, Sherry Phelps. Jeff Richardson, the bad boy of photography.
There you go.
Jen Bassford.
Oh, cheers.
Nicholas Alexander. Mitch Kidder. Nancy Nardi. And last but not least, Shayla Matthew. So we're excited you guys are all here. And in case you haven't already gathered, this group is a little wild. So hopefully I can keep them contained.
Introduce our drinks, Nick.
That's where I was going to go, boss.
Oh, dude.
Is it boss or mom? I forget.
Oh, let's go with boss tonight.
Let's go with boss.
Okay. Oh,
So,
that's right. We're
a part of this in the raw after the shoot in the raw is each week we'll have a drink of the week or of the hangout. This week we are all drinking. Everybody, glasses up.
Glasses up.
A mojito. So in the future we'll send out the recipe so you guys can all join us and drink with us.
And I also like beer.
Yeah, you don't have to. If you want to be a rebel, pull up a beer, glass of milk, Dr. Pepper, whatever.
Or if you want to fly me to your place so I can be your bartender, that's fine.
Yes,
Sherry did. Yep.
This week's drinks are mixed by no other than Sherry Phelps of C. Phelps Photography.
Our mixologist.
Our mixologist, yes.
Yes.
So with that, kind of the format we're going to use for these hangouts is we have a topic every week, and we're just going to kind of talk about it. So it's real, unscripted, unedited. So
anything, probably.
Real. So if your kids are in the room, headphones.
Yeah, headphones on.
Headphones on. So this week, just to kick it off, we are talking about a blog post or a Tumblr post that went out last week or the week before by Zach Arias. He was talking about photographers always wanting to be paid a fair amount, but are always looking for a deal from others. Jen, do you just kind of want to take that real quick?
Yeah, I'll kick that off for sure. John Pyle kind of brought this all to our attention, and we thought this was a great blog post from Zach. Most of us read his blog. We really loved it, and he had said something in there about how everybody always wants a bargain, but nobody ever wants to be the bargain. That really kind of hits home because, think about it. We're always hearing from all, and I'm using the photography industry in general, but, we hear this everywhere in our lives. We're always like, that's so expensive. We have to, pay this much for our lab, and we're going to go and find a great deal and all that, but then we turn right around and get so angry that our clients don't want to pay our prices. And what Zach had talked about in his blog is he used an example with a model for a shoot. I think he had called up this, modeling agency or whatever it was, and the model, her rate was about $250 for whatever it was he wanted. And I think he was saying that someone else was just online complaining about that, like, oh my gosh, I just need her to, come and do some pictures with me, and I'll give her the pictures, and I can't believe she's so expensive, and on and on and on. The point of that being, your rates are your rates, and anybody you go to, their rates are their rates for whatever it is you're doing, okay? You don't have to pay it. That's fine. You know that next time you go there, if you want to use that person, you're going to pay $250. We don't go to Target and get up there and they say, oh, your total is $125, and then sit there and go, what? It's $125, whatever it was you bought. So why do we do that? I mean, I want to hear from you guys. Why do we do that? Or, I mean, I'm not saying we do it, but why do you think people do that? You know, it's like certain things are expected, right? Target, you go in to buy a pair of True Religion jeans. Jeff, you don't go up and just bitch to Nordstrom like, oh my God, these are $278. You buy them or you don't buy them.
Right.
Pay it or don't.
Exactly. Well, I think it's a little bit specific to our industry because it is so emotional based all the time. So everyone's always like, "Oh my God, you're my friend. Oh, let's take pictures, whatever, blah blah blah," and they maybe butter you up a little bit and try to get a better deal, but which is completely stupid. But I don't know. It's a deep question. I think it needs to back up several layers and start with what kind of product we're offering to our client. I think if we're talking about the end game and the end product, and we're starting to ask for a discount, I think we've messed up. I think we got to back up multiple layers with our brand and figure out what it is we're providing. And our brand really doesn't ever. No one ever asks for a discount because we're very clear that we're providing these services. This is what we do. We feel confident that we're over-delivering a product. It's amazing. It's awesome. We just roll with it. We make it amazing. And then when you get all done, this is what it costs. This is the price. And it's perfect. And everyone is always like, okay, yeah, that's great because this is what I've gotten. So, because when you go buy a pair of, specifically when you shop at Nordstrom's, if you go to buy a pair of jeans, you know what you're getting. You know this brand. You know the brand's done their job with advertising online. You know, see celebrities wearing them. You know you're getting this brand. You're paying this price. So I think you need to back up quite a bit and talk about it. Just my thoughts to start with. We can go on about it a little bit though.
Yeah, let me just jump in there real quick just to kind of go back to his post. It was a submission to his question and answer blog saying that, you know, they contacted a model asking for her rates to do a portfolio shoot. She gave her response of $200 to $250 and was even willing to negotiate that down. The photographer's response was that he kind of wanted to just laugh in your face.
For free? Oh my gosh.
Laugh in her face. So he thought that this amount to shoot this model was ridiculous. So that's why Zach's response in his post was silly photographers always wanting to be paid a fair amount, yet always looking for a deal from others, which, like Jen said, is kind of, and Jeff, you know, it's kind of something that, you know, is very opposite of how we present our businesses and our products and our value. So, Sherry,
you know, Nick,
yeah, there.
I think that there's, you know, you say that photographers want to be paid a fair amount, and I think that's very subjective because there's photographers who feel like a fair amount for, say, for an 8x10 is $20, and there's photographers that feel that an 8x10 should be $120. So there's a very big, you know, differential in that price. And so I think because there's no industry standard, you know, if Jeff goes and buys True Religion jeans and prices them out at 5 different stores, they're going to be within about probably $10 of each other if they're even different. They might, you know, price lock. But with photographers, because we do own our own business and there's no industry standard, you've got photographers that are across the board. And so there's this mentality that it's very subjective. And so therefore, I think as photographers, sometimes we have this mentality, well, if we're so subjective, then everyone else should be subjective too, especially when you're selling, for lack of better terms, yourself. I mean, that model is selling really herself, her image, her face. And so there's models. I mean, when I was on Model Mayhem, there was models all the time that were saying, you know, I'll do prints.
Stop. What were you doing on Model Mayhem? That's awesome.
Oh my God.
It was way a long time ago before I realized it was
a whole other
bad
topic of
place
conversation,
to be.
I feel like.
That was you?
But nonetheless, that was me. That was me, Jeff. It was when I was much younger and had much longer red hair.
Oh, perfect.
But anyway, you know, there's models out there that will do like work for prints, and so then once again, that industry is very subjective. You got models who will work for free, and you've got models who are paid, $2,000 a day. I just think it's this mentality that let's get the best product we can for the cheapest we can, and that's why there's so much differentiation in the industry.
So here's your
and that's why as Seniors Ignite photographers, we're trying to educate the industry and say, let's raise our standards.
Exactly.
Not only do we have to raise our standards, but they have to raise their standards, and we have to be willing to pay that model $200 to be taken seriously.
Right. So here's I got it. Hang on. I got this. So here's your first hashtag in the raw quote. Raise your beep prices. Did I beat myself?
There you go.
No,
so
you can say it.
Is that PG-13?
Don't have to be PG-13.
Okay. All right. Raise your beep prices.
There you go. Thanks, Jeff. So really, this comes down to you. Really, in that situation, you pay for what you get. So yes, if you don't want to pay those rates, then there's the options for a free or lower rate, option. But like with anything, you pay for what you get.
Let's go back to the jeans situation, and I just use jeans. Obviously it's whatever you value. Okay, this is totally just an example. If you want True Religion jeans, you're going to pay, one something, two, depending on what level of jeans you get. But if you just want jeans, I mean, you can go to the store, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Target and just get jeans for $20 or $30. They both provide the same basic service, but what you're paying for is the brand, the experience, the quality, everything that goes into that. It's just cotton denim, all right? Whatever it is, the photography is a similar situation to that. I think what gets me is that people out there, it's funny, you can see people 800 ways from Sunday. I'm going to use labs as an example. I've never used I've used one lab my entire career for everything. I understand that's rare. I'm not saying anything about that at all. But what gets me is people that will go on there and go, oh, well, a 7x10 is $2.20 here, but if you go here, you can get it for $1.75. And they jump around all the time, and then they want to bitch about the fact that their clients went somewhere else for photography. It's this double standard that we have, I think, that just makes me so angry. I mean, listen to yourself. It's about loyalty. It's about quality. It's about client service. It's not about saving 25 cents on a piece of paper, and the same thing goes with what we're doing. Yes, raise your prices and value what you do. You get what you pay for, and you're not paying for a print. If you guys are selling prints and that's what your end game is, you're done.
Well, and not only that, but with that model, $200 is cheap for a model. I mean, that's nothing. I know that when I work with the corporate photographers in Omaha, some of them pay $1,400 a day for a model plus their expenses. So that's chump change. That's like somebody who's selling their 8x10s for $15. And you get what you pay for.
To get another kind of reference on that, Shalem is one of our Seniors Ignite masterminds and also an accomplished fashion photographer. Shalem, can you just kind of give us a little bit of insights into
Shalem.
To
Shalem.
A little bit of insight just into that what that model asked for, was even able to negotiate down to $100 compared to what you've worked with in the past. Just real quick.
Sure, I think that especially in the modeling industry, there's a wide range of prices because the main variable that the models are dealing with is just their time. And as we know, a lot of photographers can shortchange the value of their time, and then in the negotiation process with their clients can go even lower than that. They end up working for free. In the same way, there are models out there that will work completely for trade and call their industry the modeling industry. They say that their main profession is modeling, but they're not making a cent from it. And then there's other models that fight for the value of their time and their experience. I remember there was a shoot a couple of years ago that I was at in New York, and we contracted, I think, about 25 models. And the models rate that we had agreed on the majority of the models was I think somewhere around $1,000 a day as their day rate. And then we really wanted this one model. And I remember the reaction from some of the staff members on our shoot was, how can we pay her $5,000 and pay these other people $2,000? We want to pay her $2,000. And my response was, because she's worth every penny of that money.
Of course.
And in the end, we went with the more expensive option, and whose images were the most successful, who did we get the most traction from, who was the most professional, the most capable model on the set. I mean, we all know the answer to that question,
yep.
And part of that is, yes, she was worth $10,000, but part of that I wonder is, it's because we paid her $10,000 that she delivered $10,000 from those days of shooting.
That's an interesting concept to talk about.
Yeah, no kidding. That's why I like getting paid before a shoot. I booked as I walked out of the studio tonight, I booked a big commercial job for the morning, and the guy questioned me why he was paying me before I delivered. I said, so I do a kick-ass job, that's why. I said, you've already paid. So he wrote, he swiped the credit card. I meet him at 9 in the morning. He's hired us for 4 hours to do a big commercial job for his custom home business. So nothing related to seniors right now, but it's just a thing we do. And and he asked me the question, why am I paying you before the work's done? And I had to reiterate, I said, so I do a kick-ass job. That's why. So anyway, yeah.
That's interesting.
To go back, it's not. Sorry, it wasn't. I misspoke. It wasn't $10,000 that we paid her, but we paid her double what all the other models were getting paid.
Right. So. Whatever, if it's 1,000 or 10,000, she was obviously more. So yeah, it's awesome. That's huge, man. Totally agree.
Definitely. So then, let's see, Nick and Mitch. Let's see if you guys can chime in just on. I feel like a lot of times when photographers are just starting out, not valuing themselves, you can tend to look for the best deal with either your labs, like Jen said, or with your gear, buying cheaper equipment. Mitch and then Nick, you guys are you're in the younger, less experienced,
genre, yeah.
Genre, right? Obviously
have
enough experience to be in this crew, and produce some amazing work, but
they're still awesome. Right.
Definitely awesome. So
thanks,
can you guys speak to us a little bit about being young but still having enough, I guess,
balls,
self-worth, to value yourself, that kind of thing.
To charge, exactly.
Yeah.
To do it right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, Shayla and I have a mutual friend who we work with on our creative projects, and over and over and over she brings up that it's important to always get paid for your time. And when she says get paid for your time, she doesn't necessarily mean money. You can get paid in experience if you're learning something new, if you're not experienced in it. You can get paid in trade, whether it's trade for print, like if a model is new and she needs to build her portfolio, she can get trade for print. Or you can get paid with the cold hard cash, which is always the best. I think what's important is to know your value, and it can't be a pie in the sky, what do I think I'm worth, or any kind of guesstimate. You really have to do your numbers and work out your pricing, figure out what you're worth. Is it worth your time to take time away from your regular work to go work on a project for a discounted price or for free? And so it's important to know your numbers before you take that leap to be working for free or be working for trade. And it's important in those situations to always feel like it's an even trade. You never want to be taking advantage of someone, and you never want to feel taken advantage of. As Shayla was mentioning earlier, when you're compensated what you believe you're worth, you put out your best performance. If you're getting undercompensated, then subconsciously you can underperform. So it's really important to know what you're worth and get paid accordingly. And again, not just with cash, in experience or trade.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah, higher rates. I mean, like Jeff was kind of saying. I mean, it makes you want to over deliver for your clients. And if you're not, charging those lower rates, unmotivates me for one thing. It's sad, but I mean, we are motivated by the end result of getting paid. And charging higher rates is one step that we can take to kind of move that forward, be a little more motivated to deliver like the ultimate experience, the most high-end experience you can for your clients. But also when you value what you do, and you want your clients to value it the same way, if you're not expensive in your area, if you're not out there, and know that when clients come to you that they say, well, we know that this is going to cost us a lot, it kind of loses that whole expert status. So why should they be, paying that in the first place? If you don't believe in yourself and you're not valuing it yourself, your clients are going to pick up on that. So it kind of elevates you to an expert status in that sense. So
you brought up value and kind of establishing the value of yourself and of your session. Sherry, when you run a one-woman show, a studio all on your own, so you have to, you do everything in your business. So obviously you need to make a living off of that, and so you've had to establish value of your images and your work in your session. What's a couple of things that you feel make what you do worth it, or where's your worth? I know you've talked about that a little bit before. Can I go into worth and valuing yourself and what you do?
Well, this year has been a big change for me in that I've become the main breadwinner for my family, and so I feel a lot of pressure, more so now than I did in the past, where in the past I was just the second income. It didn't really matter what my bottom line was. And over the past 3 years, through Seniors Ignite and through being in relationship with other photographers who have really encouraged me to not only take myself seriously as a photographer, as in my worth, but also in what I am being compensated, I have been able to get to a place where I can feel comfortable with the income that I make. Just yesterday, I had somebody email me, and they wanted me to do some business portraits for a pretty large real estate firm in Omaha. And, they were like, hey, we want to give you this business. We'd love to know what your prices are to do, 50 or 60 of our agents. And I quoted them what I, figured was a good compensation for a day rate. And they were like, no, that's too much. We have another photographer that will shoot these real estate agents for $20 a piece. And I said, she said I was really hoping to give you the business. And I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm not worried. I need to make a certain amount. My time needs to be compensated. And I would rather be in my office working on my business than schlepping myself out for $20 a real estate agent and feeling horrible the whole time I'm there, like this is such a waste of my time. And that's huge for me because I've always been one of those photographers that have thought I'm not worth more than a $20 8x10. But that's been, some...
Which is so funny because you're
okay,
I'm
going to talk to you, Jen Basford, since I'm looking at you.
You are? I'm over there, baby.
Look the other way, Jeff. Look the other way, Jeff.
What?
Look the other way.
On my screen, Jen Basford's that way.
Okay, well, on our screen,
it doesn't work
here.
Like that, Jeff.
Well, that sucks.
You can do it.
Turn the other way.
But I have a serious question. So, okay,
just turn around, Jeff.
Like this?
Yeah, just do that. Just turn around and talk.
So I got a question for Jen. So, because she's like the pricing or marketing guru of life or whatever. So I'm a new photographer, and this cute little broadcast thingy has convinced me that I have value, and I want to start pricing my photography. Where do I start? What the heck do I do? How do I find out what I'm worth? Because we've determined that there's a broad range of what I'm worth. We start here, trade for pictures. I'm worth $40,000 for an hour. How do I start? Who do I go to? Do we have is there a source? I mean, I'm kind of freaking out right now. So
yeah, I mean that first and foremost, that is a huge question that takes a lot of information. We do, as we all know, we do have someone. Joy Verts is the expert on that.
Oh yeah, Joy.
Really,
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, duh.
But I mean, as far as the one thing I do want to make sure people understand is, first of all, you're not selling paper, okay? You think, for example, if you're paying $2 for a print, selling that for $10, you're making $8. you're not making $8. You had to pay for your camera. You have to pay for your lenses. You have to pay upkeep. You have to pay rent. You have to pay insurance. Okay, all of this goes together into your expenses throughout the year. And the fact, guys, your time is worth money. Okay, and you go, oh well, it's just my time. You can be doing something else with your time. You can be spending it with your husband, wife, partner, girlfriend, kids, friends, sleeping, watching TV. I mean, whatever it is that you do that you want to do, you are in an opportunity cost doing what you love. And people go, oh, I love to take pictures. I love to take pictures. I do too. I love to photograph and create and all that. But why would I spend my time photographing a family or seniors that I don't know if my time is not valuable and compensated? People go, well, it's just a 1 hour shoot. Okay, well, you got 15 to 30 minutes to book the shoot, 30 minutes to prep. You shoot for an hour. You prep for 1, 2, 3 hours. You sell for 2 hours. You edit and order and package. Okay, so you're going to spend 10, 15, 20 hours on one shoot. What's your time worth per hour? Okay, if you haven't already, go check out Joy Verge. She can help you guys price and make money and stay in business for more than 2 years. Now, here's the thing. I want Nancy to talk about this because we've talked about this 100 times. Because Sherry brought up something that I find is interesting. So many people are a second earner in their families. Okay, so say they're married or boyfriend, partner, whatever it is, and they say, oh, you know what, I don't really have to make much. It's just a hobby or whatever. And, because my husband, wife, spouse, whatever, is the income earner. Okay, so talk a little bit about that. Why is that bullshit, pretty much?
All right, sorry about that. I was muted for a second there.
Oh, sorry. I'm like,
well, I see that a lot with women. I think, especially, I'm singling out women photographers, but I think a lot of photographers, and I think Sherry and Nick talked about this. They don't value themselves. They don't invest in themselves. They're not willing to invest in other things because they're not willing to invest in themselves, and they'll never believe that anyone will be willing to invest in them because of that. And that's, so they go around looking for the cheapest way to get educated, to get by. They don't feel like they need to do it, and so they do. If you aren't willing to invest in yourself, you will never believe that anyone else will, and so that's where your prices stay.
Well, and it's not that people go, oh, whatever. Life happens, okay? If your business is not set up to make a profit, then don't run it as a business in the first place, okay? Just, do it as a hobby, don't charge. If you're a professional, your business has to make a profit, no matter what, hands down, okay? You don't have that option. What if you're, like Nancy said, let's use women photographers, but this goes every which way from Sunday. What if you're, everybody say hi, Michelle Richardson. What up, Michelle?
Hi.
What if your spouse dies, okay? Or what if they lose their job? Or what if you get divorced? And people go, oh, I'm never getting divorced. Okay, I will bet that 99.8% of divorces were not planned when people got married. Okay, sorry, just guessing here, right? And let's look at the divorce rate or the death rate. That's a good chance of happening. If your business is not set up to make money and then, holy crap, you've got to go out and switch your whole business model, you've hurt yourself, you've hurt your credibility, and I can tell you, if you start out on the low end of things, you're going to be fighting for a long time to get people to value your time and what you do. You've got to be doing this right. You've got to be educating yourself. You have to invest in educating yourself, okay? If it's free, it's not worth a whole lot.
Well, I think people are satisfied just being paid with likes on Facebook. I think really that drives a lot of it.
Oh my gosh,
they don't really care
yeah.
how much and has that.
It's interesting as we talk about this. I think about how many times I've sat in the doctor's office waiting to get in. I have a 2 o'clock appointment, and I sit in the waiting room until 2:45, sometimes 3 o'clock. Then they have you go into the room and they take your blood pressure, and you sit there for another 20 minutes. And how much of us get so steamed because we've just wasted an hour and a half of our time in the doctor's office, and we're like, who do they think they are? That like their time is obviously worth more than ours. And so on a personal level, we value our time. But when it comes to business, somehow that just falls by the wayside, and we think, well, an hour and a half of my time shooting a senior, like Jen was saying, and then all the time retouching is only worth, the whole thing, $300 done, and I'll just give them the disc. Like, what is your time worth? I think there's a disconnect there because, like Jen said, I love taking pictures, and I hate sitting in the doctor's office. It's
Well,
still time. It's still time.
I think the beauty of the illustration that Zach Arias had in this was the inequality in how we think of things. We value our own time, and we want to be compensated for our own time usually. But then when we're talking with a lab, you know, when I first started out in photography, I used one of the cheapest labs I could find, because the importance at that time for me was the cheapest 5x7 I could get my hands on. You know, I thought the quality was going to be the same across the board. And then now for the last 5 years, I've been with a different lab that was more expensive. And that's because in the first year I switched over, I had the biggest canvas order I'd ever gotten up till that point. These big 4x4 canvases for 4 feet by 4 feet canvases for a restaurant in town. It was a big job for me. It's the biggest thing I've ever done. And then they came and were warped. And there was a spot on my lens in one of the canvases that I didn't see until it was bumped up to that size. But because I was with this more expensive lab, when I needed those canvases overnighted, and I needed them right away because the restaurant was opening in a few days, they were able to take care of that for me at no cost to me. And that's the value right there. And from then on, I was sold forever. And in the same way, if you've got a tight workflow because your prices are too low and you're overloaded with client work, then you can't go above and beyond in those difficult situations for your clients because you're already maxed out. You're already maxed out. So that's why you need to make sure that you're charging enough for yourself to have that wiggle room.
So, yeah, definitely. Jeff, I know that we've talked about this before, and you actually have a video out there about you've had somebody tell you that, well, you're too expensive for us to come to. Same thing. This model's too expensive, and you had probably one of the best responses that I've ever heard about your expensive studio, high value and high dollar product because it's worth it. But so, can you share your response? And then I know Jeff has to leave us early, but so has asked him to share this, and then we'll say goodbye to Jeff.
It's really easy for me. I know exactly what our prices need to be because that's what it's worth. It's super simple. I mean, if you're asking the question, I can't afford you. I mean, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, but I would love to do this for you at a much cheaper price that you could afford, but I can't because this is an incredibly detailed, expensive product. This is a very complicated process and a very complex product. I'm going to get to know you. I'm going to work several hours, lots of physical labor, a lot of sweat. That is to get to the result that you're expecting from Richardson Studio. It's just really, really, really a lot of energy and a lot of my time, a lot of your time even. So I mean, to get the product you need, it costs this much, and this is what we determine. We have products that start here all the way to here. Let's talk a little about what your needs are. Let's see if we can make it work for you. If not, I totally understand. Let's put this on hold. You can talk about maybe saving up to do this or whatever, but it's going to cost you about this much to do here, and that's what it's, whatever. That's it. Sorry. I wish I could do it less, but just sorry. It's not going to happen. No, I'm really not even sorry. I probably won't even say sorry. I'm just going to be like, yeah, it's what it is. So.
Yeah, there's a video where you're talking about that being too expensive, and you had a pretty awesome. I
don't remember what I said, but it was it's probably more like yeah.
You're like, I'm expensive.
Yeah, heck yeah.
You're expensive. Yeah, I am.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm really exactly.
Period.
It's really expensive, and it's gonna be flipping awesome too. So exactly. So, yeah.
True Religion jeans are expensive, but they make my ass look amazing. That's why I buy them.
They do, Sherry. They do.
They do. Trust me.
What is it? Lift and separate.
Something like that.
So, thanks, Jeff. We'll let you.
No problem. Thanks. This is so freaking cool, and I can't wait to be on a lot of these coming up here really soon. This is gonna be super badass, and we're gonna be able to do some cool shit. So I'm excited. You guys keep it real, and I'll talk to you guys all really soon. Later.
All right.
Thanks, Jeff. I wanna.
Bye, Jeff. Love you.
Love you.
I'm gonna kick
freeze me like on
Ready? Like that.
Ready?
Hold it.
Bye. That was pretty sweet.
Dude, that's like Mario Brothers, you know, when you hit the little Mario thing, it pops off. We should do all of us like this, one by one. It's kind of like, ooh, Sound of Music, so long, farewell.
I want to jump over to Mitch. Jeff talked about, his response to that question, if you're too expensive or if you're so expensive. His response was, yeah, I know, it's awesome. Jeff's has been in business for, quite some time. He's pushing, he's getting old, he's getting up there. So Mitch, on the other end of that, he's one of our younger, masterminds.
One of our babies.
We talked about earlier, yeah. So, but Mitch runs a very successful studio, and he produces amazing work, both senior portraits and conceptual and a lot of stuff like that. So what's kind of your response on that? You're younger, so it's like, oh, you don't have a wife and kids and all this, to support.
Yeah.
So how do you justify?
You're technically single. Why should you charge anything?
Sure. Yeah.
Man. Well, and it and this is like this is where the in the raw moment comes in. I've been a professional photographer for almost 10 years now, and by professional I mean like making cash at some point for shooting. But it wasn't until this year at the Seniors Ignite event when I met with Joy and we went over pricing. And as soon as we went through the actual costs of what it takes to run a business and the things you need to do that you accommodate and the bills you're already paying, as soon as we ran through that, I figured out where the pricing comes into term and how to be comfortable with my pricing. Because up until that point, I had a fee that I would charge, and I felt good about charging it, but if someone pushed back, I would kind of give them a deal. What are you looking for? Let's see how we can work this out. But no, since this year, so that was January, February, March this year, having that confidence of knowing exactly where the numbers come from, and if I'm charging any less, I might as well go back to a 9-to-5 job and quit photography. I'll be making more money doing that 9-to-5 job than doing my passion. So knowing those numbers is what's really gave me the confidence now, where I didn't have that before. I also want to jump back to something that we've talked about this week as we've been meeting things. Oh, we're talking about it.
Never.
I'm just kidding.
As we're talking about valuing ourselves as professionals, we also need to value other professionals. We are professional photographers. We are not web developers. We are not graphic designers. We need to be finding people who are skilled experts in those areas and hiring them to do those products. Definitely we can do a little bit of maintenance here and there, and we can give input, but we as professionals need to value other professionals in their trade as well.
So I guess we can segue over to our web guru, Nancy Nardi. Nancy, I want to build a website, but I probably shouldn't because I'd mess it up and look like I made it. So, Nancy, why should we?
But I can't afford. I mean, it's just a website.
It's just a website.
I just need to spend $100, right?
There's free WordPress.
Yeah, photographers think every website should be $100.
Oh my God!
It's an investment in your business because you get a return on that investment. I mean, that's and the same reason we kind of howl every time people pick up a camera and do things themselves, and then we turn around, we do the same thing. We want to make our own brand. We don't want to invest in a brand. We don't want to. People definitely don't want to invest in a website. Some really can't afford it. Some just don't want to. But it's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your business, and that's exactly why you should do it. You're not an expert. Same reason. I mean, and people say, well, I can't afford it. Well, getting my car fixed is expensive. Maybe you're not ready to go
full time in business.
Yeah, and I mean, just like when your car breaks, I don't like it either. It's expensive, but I don't get on a forum and start asking mechanics how to put a muffler back on my car because I can't afford it. I just you bring it to the garage.
To see that process of Nancy car replacing that.
Well, and ultimately
no,
you look like a cheapskate idiot. I mean, I've had parents call and say, my daughter was shot by 3 or 4 of her friends, and where'd Nancy go?
We lost Nancy.
I think she got mad that you interrupted her.
Get Nancy back on here.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
But ultimately, I've been called by parents who are like, my daughter's been shot by a couple of other photographers, and we just don't like the images. Nancy. They were shoot and burn photographers who didn't invest in the good equipment, didn't invest in the software, didn't invest in the education, because education is key, and they got crappy images, and now they want me to come along and do a quick little session so they can supplement the crappy pictures they've already got. And if they would have just come to me first, if you would just go to a good web developer first or a good graphic artist first, you would actually save money by not having to bounce around to the cheapskates first and then finally go to the good one at the end.
You know, it's kind of similar, and I brought this up a while back. You know, we want to go on these forums, first of all, where a lot of people on the forums are not, I think, educated enough to be educating yet, but absorbing information, you know, definitely is great. It's like trying to go get a job as a head chef at a restaurant because you've watched the Food Channel for 3 years, okay? I love it. I love food. I have seen Emerald do everything he does. Bobby Flay, let's do it. Now, that can inspire you to become a chef, and it can, you know, get you excited about it, and that can ignite your fire to get going. But then you need to kind of learn how to use a knife and not cut your fingers off, and you need to learn how to saute and
or someone else's fingers.
And yeah, also not good. But I mean, you know, you can only do so much for free, and free is definitely good because it helps you say, okay, I like this, I want to do this, this is where my passion is. I'm ready to invest and become a professional, okay? You have to learn from people who know what they're doing and have proven it. They're successful. They have, you know, the credentials to do it, not just I make pretty pictures with a camera, okay? I mean, honestly, a lot of people on this planet can make pretty pictures with a camera anymore. I mean, they can. Some people can do it better than people calling themselves photographers. You know, you have to put a value on someone's time that is taking time to educate you correctly in creating an image and experience, lighting, posing, and interacting in a style that emulates what you want to be.
Right. Agreed.
Yes.
Ditto.
I really just wanted to, Mitch, he mentioned, you know, he could end up, when he looked at his pricing with Joy, that he could be making more money working a 9 to 5, you know, someplace else. I just want to take a minute just for a little sidebar. Sherry, if you had to pick a 9 to 5 right now, anywhere you want, where would you work? What would you do? Real quick. First thing comes in your head.
Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby. Jen.
Whoa.
Yeah.
God dang it.
Yeah, keep it PG-13-ish.
Come back to me.
Nicholas Alexander.
Come back to me.
What was the question? I'm sorry. No, I'd probably want to, I don't know, go big or go home, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Where would you work? 9 to 5 job right now.
9 to 5 job.
It's just so swanky.
It's a nice radio voice.
Yeah, he's just such a great radio voice.
I gotta think about that actually. Hold on.
Okay, I'm gonna go work at Anthropology.
I said Hobby Lobby. Hello.
I know you're out. We may need to kick you out.
Actually, I think I want to change mine to bartender.
Oh yeah. Okay, but I'm gonna work at Anthropology because
nice one.
I know, right? I'm working at Anthro. All right.
It's not your turn.
Oh.
I'd work for the oil.
You what?
I'd work for the oil.
He lives in Alaska. Hello, pipeline.
Yeah, there's oil everywhere, and I'm sure I'd do something there.
Would you get like a real oil job, or would you just go out in your backyard and start digging?
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's gold everywhere, so.
All right, Nancy.
You know, I'd work 9 to 5 for my own business instead of 12, 15-hour days.
Ooh.
Ooh, she always got a trump.
I'm a bad employee. I quit working. I get fired after like one day.
This is true.
All right, Shaylin.
I think I'd be a librarian.
Really?
I like filing stuff.
I can see
It's
it
the truth.
with the bow tie.
You're also great at folding clothes, though.
Do you see how I'm dressed right now? Librarian, for sure.
I know, but folding clothes. Nobody folds clothes as well as you do. You need to be in retail.
It's the truth.
Just bring attention. When Shaylin stood up, I heard a noise under him. Shaylin, where are you right now?
I'm in a house.
Tilt
Room.
down your screen real quick.
Tilt your screen. Tilt your screen. You can do it. You can do
A
it.
little bit of a tip. Anybody? What does this look like?
Oh!
Oh, no. Wait. And we're back.
So just in case you guys haven't noticed, we are all in
one place.
one place.
Wait, hold on, Nick. We gotta figure out.
Show him the wall. Show him how cool that wall looks.
Wait, Nicholas Alexander, what's your?
Yeah, I'd probably actually work for a golf course.
Yes.
So you could, drive around these little golf carts.
Yeah.
And
yes.
It seems pretty fun.
Really? That's what you do?
It could be fun.
Actually, I think that if I had to work a 9-to-5 job, I'd work for Jen Bassford.
Oh, no, you would not.
You say that.
No.
Say that.
No.
Mitch was talking
not
about
even
gold.
say that.
I don't know. I might want to work.
Nobody
whatever
wants
Mitch is
to work
doing.
for me.
My 9-to-5 job would be
Like
working
something.
at the Apple Store, I think.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because you get a discount, and that's great.
You do get a discount. Yeah.
So like we said, we're
like
all
10%.
together in one place, one house, but different rooms. We are in Bloomington, Indiana, with Jeff and Michelle Richardson are our hosts, both at their studio and now at their house. This isn't my baby on the wall.
Let's hope not, Sharp.
Dang it, that story I just crafted was not.
Yeah, no, that was my baby.
Look at all this beautiful fine art I created back here.
I know, right?
Yes. So.
Do you like the painting in my bedroom?
Yeah, that's great.
I like pink giraffes.
So this has just been a quick, or I'm not quite sure how quick it was. Maybe it was long, but a little glimpse into what we're going to be doing every other week or so here with Seniors Ignite. Different masterminds will be with us each time. I'll be consistent unless Jen decides that I need to go, which is very likely. So we'll have different topics. Try to hit on real topics, keeping it raw, right?
Very raw.
And always we'll have a drink that we'll all be drinking together. We won't
Speaking of drinks, Sherry,
mojito was great.
I'm on my way.
Ready for a refill, lady.
Yep, I think that's where we're going to end it.
I think we're going to all head back downstairs and just hang out some more, but that's all we have here on this broadcast. Thanks for tuning in. If you want more info on Seniors Ignite, check us out online, seniorsignite.com. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.